Hello, welcome back to today's Today podcast with me, Jack, and Danny. Danny, how are we?
Not too bad, sir. Not too bad at all. How's the form?
I'm all good in the hood. I say this every single podcast, but I started the day off quite well. Actually, I went for a wee run for the first time in a while last year. I really enjoyed it actually. So I did. What about yourself? What have you been up to?
Haven't done much this morning. Yesterday, just kind of trained all day basically. But MMA in the morning.
The
We gym
king
session.
is back.
The king is back. We gym session midday. Then a wee 5K to finish the day off yesterday evening. But today I haven't really been done much. Kind of just watching all the boxing from last night. So,
Nice. Well,
aye.
sounds really well. Good. It's good to hear you're back. How you finding it?
Yeah, grand. To be fair, my fitness is absolutely clapped at the moment though. So I need to get my fitness back. I'm fit in the sense that I can run, but I'm not fit in the sense that I can go 5 rounds back to back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. But it takes time. You're on the right step. You started like it's good.
100%.
Actually, it's like I first started running. I haven't run there in a while, but I went running there and let me. I just took a lead and like try or anything or something like that. But I actually enjoyed it. It was just like a peaceful run, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I want the thought of starting with shit like, but see once I got into it, I think like halfway I was actually just like, oh, this is actually fun. This is actually like, oh, this is pretty sick. Like,
yeah.
uh, I mean, with good tunes, it probably helped. Like,
Here, I'll give anyone a tip looking to get in the running. See if you're looking to get in the running, right? Don't run at around 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock through Liverpool because see the much people you have to try and dodge, lad. I must have near wiped out about 7 people trying to get past them. No, just skirt past them, drop the shoulder, and just jeez, it was rough, lad. Literally,
I went for a 10K when I was in Liverpool around Halloween, and oh my god, like
it's mental, isn't
it
it?
was like left, right. You do more dodging than you do running.
Literally, like. But here, Jack, do you want to give everyone listening a rundown on what we're actually going to be talking about and discussing in today's episode of the podcast?
So today's episode, Matt, is going off our quotes of the day. So what they mean to us, why we said these quotes, and so on. Just reiterating the points and why we said these points. So what I've done is that we've got 7 points each, which is all of our quotes of the days. We're just going to go run through on what they mean to us and why we said them. So I'm going to go first. So I will. The first one is Danny. Danny said, um, "Time flies, but the good news is you're the pilot." What does that quote mean to you, Danny?
I think this quote kind of like resonated with me in a sense, like obviously when I was younger and when everyone's younger, we all be like, "Oh, I can't wait to grow up. I can't wait to get to this point," and you kind of like get to the point when you have grown up. Obviously, I'm still young. I'm only 20, but you realize how fast the times actually went, and like you didn't actually what how would I describe it? You haven't actually taken the time in. Do you know what I mean? Like you've kind of just let the time fly by, and you're always looking for the next thing. And obviously, as everyone says, life seems to go so fast. Like it feels like what 3 weeks ago that I was only like 14 or 15, and now I'm 20 and about to finish university. So I'm kind of being like, the quote kind of resonates with me in the sense like you feel like life's going by so quickly and you're out of control of it, but like realistically, you're actually the one who controls it. The reason you're in the situation that you are in because you've made X amount of decisions to get you this situation. Like when you're like years ago, you're like right now, you're in like you're in a situation that you hope for so much. Like when I was younger, like I was always hoping like, oh, I want to go to university in Liverpool, but now I'm here, and sometimes I don't sit back and actually like be grateful and actually cherish the fact that I have achieved what I said I was going to achieve.
Yeah, nah, I would agree. My take on it personally would be, you know, time flies. Good news is you're a pilot. See, when you, as you were saying, you were younger, like you think, oh, time goes so slow, and then when you get older, you're like, oh, time goes so fast. You're like, what? But the good news is you're the pilot bit, and it's then more like, you actually get to decide what you do with that time. If you know what I mean, like you actually
Mm,
get to decide. So like, yeah, it's bad time flies, but like it's a good thing because you get to decide what you want to do with the time, that kind of thing. But yeah, I have a very similar in take with you, especially to what you just said there about the you know me 10 years ago would have loved to be in the position I am now, kind of thing. I think that's a really good take it to have in that quote. So it is.
yeah, I think it's always like when we're younger, we always look at like grown ups and stuff, and people ahead of us being like, oh, they have it all figured out, they have their life sorted completely. But when you get to the point the same age as them, you're like, they probably didn't have it all sorted out as much as we think you think that they did. You know what I mean? Like everyone's kind of just in the same situation, trying to work out life. You know what I mean? I know that sounds very deep, but you know what I mean? Like trying to work out
It's
what to
so
do.
it's true on every level. It doesn't matter who you are. You could be the most famous person in the world or the most talented person. In the world, they're always still trying to figure out something. As well. See what you're saying there. Like it's because see with social media, I feel like no one sees the grind on the way there. All they see is they're already at the top or their highlight reels kind of thing. And we've already discussed a lot about this in the past, but people who don't watch this podcast won't know me. They're going to look at me right now and be thinking, right now they would see, for example, one of my mates said to me the other day, I dead on Jack, you're not skint, you're minted and all this here, but only because I upload on social media and it gives me the illusion that I'm trying to, motivate people. They all might think, oh, he's uploading on social media. He's all, he's ahead of me. Can I? I'm like that does not, it doesn't, that's not true. Like, but it's
Yeah,
mad in about 10 years' time when they look at my page, they'll be like, oh, he's always been that good, or he's always had that money. He's always been that good at Pete. He's always been good at this. It's not. That's not the case. Like it's and even when I am there, there's still stuff I need to learn, and then you know what I mean. So yeah, I would 100% agree with what you said there.
100%, 100%. Just going off what you said, it's like, do you ever hear that quote? It's like the more knowledge you have, the less you feel like you know.
Yeah, yeah. The more what is that? What is the exact quote that?
It's something along them lines. So it's like the more knowledge you acquire, it's the more you find out you don't have a clue what you're talking about, or something along them lines. I don't know exactly.
The more you know, the more you realize you know nothing. It's something. I
Yeah,
think it's something like that. But it's a very good one. I think I was Alex Moser. I heard I was talking about that,
all your quotes are Alex Mosley, lad.
but
Here, Jack, I'm gonna say a point that you one of the quotes that you've used for the quote of the days, and it is, if it costs you your freedom, it is experience. What do you mean by that? What kind of resonates with you about that quote? That you,
my bad. Of course, your freedom is expansive. I was meant to say.
oh, sorry,
That's my
Apo-
bad. That's my bad. Matthew's one done that. I thing. But
so
what
what's
resonates? Go
what's
ahead.
the quote? Say the quote again. Sorry.
If it costs you your freedom, it is expansive.
Yeah.
So what that means to me is that I spent so much time in situations and places I didn't need to be. For example, going out in our local park and drinking just for the crack, just because everyone else was doing it, kind of stuff. And if it costs you your freedom, it's expensive. So you're that's expensive, wasting time. So it isn't really benefiting that kind of thing. I wasted so much time doing things that wasn't benefiting me and wasn't bringing me joy, wasn't bringing me happiness. It's just more like a socialized thing. It wasn't really like moving me forward or moving me, to my desired outcome or who I was trying to become, kind of thing. So, but that's what that quote means to me. It also means like to not stay in a situation when you know you don't want to be in the situation. If you know what I mean, just saying because it's if you get me. So, for example, going out and drinking in the local park when you're younger, like don't be wrong, you need experience and it is good crack sometimes, 100%. By all means, I do not regret it at all because sometimes it's unbelievable. But some days when you go, you're like, I could be doing something so much more valuable that's move me forward. But the reason why you're doing it is because you feel like you have to be there because of someone else or because everyone else is doing it, kind of thing. But I feel like you shouldn't think it like that way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I've kind of got a question to ask you off the back of this. Obviously, we're both still very young. You're 21 and I'm 20 years of age. Obviously, a lot of people don't have like this, like me knowing you as a person, as a friend, you have like a set desired level of success that you want to achieve. But obviously, a lot of people at our age don't have this, obviously, because we're still young and technically they don't need to have it so young. Why do you feel it is that you have this mindset so young compared to people who their main what they want to kind of get out of life at the moment is just experience and like going out all the time and going on holidays all the time with their mates and stuff. Not that you don't obviously, but do you know the point I'm
Yeah,
trying to get at with the question?
yeah. So I feel I got lucky without knowing I was getting lucky side, or I feel like I got lucky because I was in a relationship early in my life, so I had a breakup before early in my life. I also had like you know, I didn't get the best. I didn't get on with my mum and daddy the best when I was growing up. So I was always in fights all the time when I was younger as well. I got lucky because I had all them experiences growing up, early bells. So I've already been through, in my opinion, quite a hard stuff or things that I didn't know that would benefit me now that I'm 20. But if I had only started experiencing them stuff now, then I would still be in the same mindset. I feel like beforehand, if you know what I mean, in the sense like I wouldn't be thinking about time fly or no, not time flies, about the experience and not wasting your time stuff. See, because I had already been through quite a lot of hard stuff growing up, early bells in my life, like I don't know, fighting with your parents and not getting along with them, having a fight in school every day, getting suspended, from in a breakup in a relationship when I was 15 or something like that. Like then we things you don't realize are actually shape you for when you see say 5 years time. Boom, I've already been through that there, so I know not to maybe not surround myself in that situation or stay away from that argument or stay away from the people who are causing them arguments. Stuff like that. I feel like I got lucky in the sense that I'd already been through that kind of stuff when I was younger. And it's made me so much better now. But I feel like some people haven't been through them things to come out on the other side to be able to maybe use their time more wisely because they don't know why. If that makes sense, that makes sense, kind of.
I kind of get what you're saying. So, but why do you feel like all these past experiences has like kind of, if you can like kind of distill it down into like a sentence or two, like why do you think all these past experiences have give you this mindset of wanting to achieve a certain level of success at such a young age?
Um, these situations, these scenarios that I've been in, has made me stronger, more equipped to not want to go for them again. So it's made me know when to dodge a path that I know I shouldn't be going on. For example, like getting in a relationship with someone else who I don't see, something, or like for example, I don't know, going to the local park and drinking for the crack or, stuff like that. It's me realize like, oh, I actually don't want to do that. This is one I'd rather do this here or go to this here. I have two options here. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go to the gym or go out, like that kind of thing. I have to narrow it down. I would probably say it helped having a dad that was quite successful, but he was never really in the house, obviously. But he was out grinding, like he was working every single day. Like I didn't have that when I was growing up. I didn't have the best relationship with my dad at all, and now I do. But when I was growing up, I didn't at all. He's never really in the house to have a relationship in the first place, and when he did, he was so stressed out about working so much that his vibe didn't really go well with me because I was growing up and then he was coming in stressed after working like that. That's then with me, I got to witness that he was grinding it out and then coming home after a long day's work and stressed out. I got to witness what he was going through, kind of thing, maybe, and maybe that's maybe passed down into me in the sense like, oh, he's doing that, so when I'm older or like now I've gotten older, like now it's my turn to maybe go after because I got to see his kind of thing and he was working hard to do this and it showed me that I need to work hard to do whatever it is I want to do. Maybe I assume maybe that's something reason
So,
why that I
so you reckon it's a comparison to kind of be a similar person to what, who your dad was in terms of success and things like that?
yeah, what 100%. I also feel like I feel like it's something that sometimes I feel like it's maybe installed in you like just you're born with it or you're not born with it in the sense of like the want to actually do something. Like some people actually generally I feel like are born with it. Some people
Mm,
aren't, and some people can't 100% acquire that. But some people are just lazy, like and maybe it's because they have no direction. Maybe they didn't have that father to grow up with for me to see him. Maybe people that have that father to look up to and be like, this is what a man is supposed to do, kind of thing. Maybe is that I don't
yeah.
know. I don't want to sound harsh on him. Like maybe I got lucky in that sense that you have a father that you look up to and that's what he was doing, kind of thing. Maybe I don't know.
So it's like kind of like a vibe of like, so he can look at what you've achieved and make him proud in a sense.
Yes, but it wasn't even so to make him proud. It just make myself proud. I was like, I know with making myself proud, it would make him proud. If you know what I mean. So maybe it is. Yeah, maybe it is. But
Fair.
I didn't know that growing up. I never thought of it like that at all. Even now, I don't even feel like that at all either. But I just feel like maybe that could have been without like psychologically knowing. kind of thing.
Yeah, I get you. We went on a bit of a rant there. Do you want to move on to the quote, or do you want me to kind of give my brief
Yeah,
takeaways from the quote?
give a brief description what you feel like about
Um, the quote: "If it costs your freedom, it is expensive." I'm kind of just along the same lines as you in the sense, like, see when you're like doing stuff like sorry, 2 seconds. It is considered like the overall norm of like getting on the babbies all the time, going out all the time. It's just personally like when I drink, it kind of just leaves me the next few days crippled with like obviously a hangover, but like I just don't feel good like mentally, and like I'm just like I know when I drink, it's not going to be 1 night or 2 days of unproductivity. It's going to be like realistically, it's going to be 3 or 4 because I just can't hack a hangover at all, lad. Um, and it just leaves you feeling mentally drained, and it's definitely expensive to do, what I mean, because it's costing my freedom for 4 or 5 days, more or less a full working week. So that's why that quote kind of resonates with me. It's kind of along them lines, the same as yours.
Yeah, and again, like about the time is expensive. Like time is running out. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, I know it sounds a bit harsh or a bit deep or a bit like, oh my, the time is running out. Like even I know we're only 20, we have loads of years left. Hopefully we have fucking, hopefully have a good 50, 60, 70. But time is still running down. It's still that kind of thing. But we're gonna move on to the next quote. So the next quote Danny said is, um, motivation is what gets you started. Habits is what keeps you going.
Yeah, the reason I kind of said this quote, motivation is what gets you started, habits is what keeps you going. Is ever like since I came to like university and stuff, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I have became a lot more lazy and undisciplined, and that quote kind of like struck a string with me because like I would do stuff for like say a week or two when the motivation's high. It's feeling good, and when it comes to when it's like, oh, you can't be bothered going to the gym, you can't be bothered doing this. You kind of put it on definitely on the back burner. Whereas sometimes you just need to have grit and have a set of balls and actually just do the shit that you don't want to do, the shit that you don't enjoy. You just have to be disciplined in yourself. And I was reading a thing recently. I was talking about like how discipline is actually the highest form of self love because like it's something I've been definitely implementing recently. Like there's times I catch myself before I go to bed, like sitting watching YouTube, and I'm like, oh, I'll watch another video, and then I'd be like, something just clicks. I'm like, no, I'm not sitting watching YouTube. I need to go to bed, so have a wake up early and have a productive day tomorrow. Whereas if I sit up, as I say, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, watching YouTube videos that don't actually serve me any purpose, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow the next day, maybe like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and just have an unproductive day, and it will leave me feeling shit, and feel like I haven't achieved anything. So that's why I think discipline's so important, and obviously with that quote, highlighting how important it is.
Nah, everything you said, I 100 million% agree. Like habits are what keep you going. Obviously, like well, it's hard to actually build a habit, but once you've got that installed inside you, yeah. Habits is like someone says, motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Habit, discipline, is that that's around the same? Is habits and discipline aligned with the same thing? Do you feel like?
Yeah, for maybe to me personally, I think they are, to be honest, because habits like there's certain habits that you don't want to do, like, do you know what I mean? But you have to be disciplined in the sense to perform that habit. So I would say they definitely are correlated.
They're
In
definitely
this,
in nine weeks, or I think like.
yeah, they definitely run parallel with each other in the sense like in order to perform a lot of habits, do you know what I mean? Obviously, once you perform habits and over and over again, like it becomes what's the word, second to none. Like it's just you're in your nature. Like an example, one I would think of would be like brushing your teeth. Do you know what I mean? When you're younger, like you used to not be bothered brushing your teeth, but it just built it. You built it into a habit. Do you know what I mean? And now it would feel weird if you left the
Wait,
house with
do you brush your teeth? Bring
it.
me back.
Get me back for that episode the other week. But yeah, like now if you left the house, without brushing your teeth, you feel weird, or even like wearing a seatbelt in a car. It's just something that's so engraved in you. When you don't wear a seatbelt, it feels weirder to not wear a seatbelt than wear one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, 1 million%, like 1%. What's the next one?
So the next one that you said, Jack, was do more of the things you feel good afterwards. Well, I'm struggling to read it. Do you do more of the things you feel good afterwards doing?
Yeah, no, that's good. Um, yeah. So what this one means to me is that I heard someone says to me, when I was on a call with him, and he says to me, what is it you do?" And as I just told him things I was doing, he goes, "Do the things that you feel good afterwards." And I was thinking to myself, like, what are them things? And if you actually look at them things, they're all the things you should already be doing. Like, for example, eating healthy, you feel good afterwards, like in the long term. Training, you could be fucked doing it afterwards, you feel class. Ice baths, you don't like doing them, fuck. You feel class afterwards. Um, you know, do things based on how you feel afterwards. Like, for example, say if you don't do it, say if you do the opposite. I don't know, you eat shit food, you're gonna feel like shit. You don't train, you're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna feel disappointed in yourself. You're also gonna be disrespecting yourself, kind of thing. But yeah, that's what it basically means to me. Like, if you do things that you actually, makes you feel good afterwards, then you're gonna live a quality life. Like, so yeah, that's the way I look at that quote. But I think it's really, really good. It's a really good way to look at things, I think.
Yeah, 100%. I think it parallels exactly with what we were saying. Like, this is what I like personally have just taken from this now. Like, do things that make you feel good opposed to other people. Like there's so much activities you do because other people want to do them. The biggest example of me and Jack continuously talk about is like going out and going getting on the babies with your mates on like a Friday and a Saturday. Like, if it doesn't make you happy and you know you're gonna feel like shit the next day and you're not gonna do anything for the next 2 to 3 days, don't do it just because there's a peer pressure around it to do it, because it's a social norm to do it in order to fit in. Sometimes when you realize that fitting in's not as important as it actually is in today's age, I think that's when like you kind of become happier in a sense. Like,
When you're trying to fit in with people, it's a sign that you're not actually with the right people.
yeah, 100%. Like, and I think a lot personally, I think a lot of people don't overly enjoy it, but they just do it because the whole crowd's do it. The whole crowd's doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they just follow. They're like sheeps instead of being the lamb. But it's good to have a few lambs around you instead of just sheep. But what do you call it? Like I say as well. That's not me and Danny saying we don't go out and have drinks, because lots
Yeah,
of people do.
true.
Like, but
We're not
we're saying
nuns.
like if it's not bringing you happiness or bringing you joy, then there's no point doing it. Like, you're not doing it to fit in, we're doing it to enjoy ourselves, kind of thing, or to escape. People do it to escape reality, but with me and Danny, preferably we drink that to enjoy it instead of escaping the life we're already living, kind of thing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Here, what was another thing I was going to say there? I was going to say another thing based on that quote. Yeah, so basically, I know I've said this before, but it talks. I remember seeing a thing. It was like, certain activities like running or ice baths and all is like the opposite of drugs. It makes you feel absolutely shit at the time that you're doing it, but afterwards, it makes you feel amazing. Whereas like drinking drugs is like it makes you feel good at the time, but shit afterwards. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like hard activities like that is kind of just the opposite of these instant like instant gratification
Hard,
dopamine reward systems.
hard thing, easy life. Easy thing, hard life.
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
bang on the money.
So, Danny, you said life isn't about finding. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. What 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 about this quote resonates with you the most?
Um, I think so much people like kind of me included like go through life trying all these different things, searching for what's their thing. Do you know what I mean? The way everyone just has like a thing, but the best thing to do sometimes is just to create the thing. Like, how would I give this as an example? Like, people try certain things for like a week or two, and they're shit at it, obviously because they've just started. But don't put in like the necessary hours, the 10,000 hours to become good at that thing. Like, if you get what I'm saying, like,
They don't. they don't see that feedback loop. So when you do something you're good at, you're getting constant feedback that you're good at it. But when you're doing something like you're not so good at because you haven't put in the reps to be good at it, you're not getting that feedback. So you just give up. But basically, what I feel like you're trying to say is like you know, create it. You're not going to be good or not going to like it at the start. But once you start doing it and start getting good at it, you'll get that feedback loop. And it'll not take like, I don't know, a year to get that feedback. It'll be like every week you'll be getting that feedback, and then you actually enjoy it, and then you actually create it, and then you actually like it. Is that what you're trying to say? I feel like.
Yeah, 100%. You kind of like create a relationship with a thing or someone. Do you know what I mean? Like at the start, it's never been like when you start a sport, it's not going to be perfect, but you create a relationship with that sport, that you learn more and more knowledge about that sport. You get better at that sport. That you fall in love with that sport or that thing. So like in a sense, you're not finding it. You're creating it. Like you're creating a relationship around this sport or this activity or this person or this place, which kind of like builds the love and desire, because like you have experiences within it, you have experiences like with it. If you get what I'm saying, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the feedback loop comes quicker, but when you're waiting so long for the feedback, then obviously you're not going to enjoy it. You're obviously not going to be able to want to create it either. But once the feedback, once you start getting good at it, then the feedback comes even quicker and quicker, and then you enjoy doing it because you're getting that much feedback that you're good at it. If that makes
Yeah.
sense,
I
I
also
get.
Another angle like to kind of take this quote as well is being like people sit back and wait. People kind of sit back and wait for them to find themselves or find a thing, but like sometimes you just need to go out and get skin in the game, get some experience. Like I don't know, like say like you want to become an actor, so to speak. Some people sit back and wait like, oh, an acting experience is just an acting job or something's just going to come in and just catch me off guard. But it's not really. You have to go, as you preach so much, Jack, and we preach so much on this podcast. Like you need to get skin in the game. You need to go and fail. You need to go and fail in order to achieve the outcome that you want.
100%. Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
So Jack Gray, the next quote that you said is, "Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being sorry, let me start again. Lisp. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited about what could go right."
So what this one means to me is that there's so much things that I'm scared of doing because I might fail, but I never look at it like, what if it could go right? Like, start being excited if it goes right, kind of thing. Like I've been so afraid of, what if I play shit in this football match, or what if I don't make it, or what if I don't make the money, or what if I don't, you know, I don't know, score 20 goals a season. Like that's just for example. But what if you do? Like, why not get excited about the thing? Like life is all about perception. The way you look at things. Like if I turn around and say to you, that tree's black, and you turn around and say to me, that tree's white. It's life is all about perception, way we look at things and way we view things. So basically, what that's saying is, start being excited about what things could go right. Stop looking at all the negative. Find some positive. Don't get me wrong; it's always good to look at the negatives and see how you could benefit and all the rest of it. But also look at the positives. Like something exciting, because I can end up going right for you. I could end up, there's no need to always be in a fear state of mind. If that makes sense.
Yeah, a quote that like I would link to this that I've like I kind of really like would be, if you knew that you couldn't fail and nothing could go wrong, how big would you dream? Do you know what I mean?
Jeez, I've heard that one before. That's a really good one, though. A really good eye. Yeah, no, that's really good take on it. So
Yeah, but I completely get what you mean. Do you know what I mean? People are so obsessed with like kind of the negatives and the negative outcomes that could arise from a certain situation that it's all they focus on. But like they never focus on the positive. And at the end of the day, failure doesn't even exist. Failure is always a lesson, is always disguised as failure because it's your perception of the lesson. Do you know what I mean? You got to take like what the failure actually means. Like say like you go into like a sparring session in boxing or MMA, whatever it may be, and you get punched around for 3 rounds. If you sat and watch that back, you could work out why you got punched around, why you got caught that right hook, why you got caught that overhand right, because your head was in a certain position. But if you sit and watch that back and learn from it, you can know what to do next time when you're in the same situation to avoid that. And that's what getting better is. Do you know what I mean? Learning from your mistakes and doing the opposite or something different so that you don't make that mistake again. It's like anything. If you look at the best people in history, no matter who they are, like you probably couldn't get a page long enough to write down how much times they've failed. Like anyone who's ever achieved anything great has failed over and over and over again until they've achieved something great.
Like Jordan wouldn't be a good basketball without practicing. Cristiano Ronaldo wouldn't be the footballer he is today without putting in the reps. Messi wouldn't be one of the best, if not the best footballer of all time, if he didn't train consistently. These people didn't just happen by accident. Yes, they have the talent, but they obviously worked hard and they put in the reps, as you were saying there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, Jack. I want to hear your opinion on this because it's something I was looking at recently about the trampoline. What do you like say to people kind of who like you hear this all the time? I was having a conversation with someone recently about this, and they were talking about like when you give examples of people who like have say started a sport late or started a sport with say a handicap, they always like but they always like disagree with that handicap and put it down to say athletic ability or genetics. Like what would be an example? Like I was talking to someone, I was like what would I say? What was I was talking about? I'm trying to remember the exact conversation, but like so much people put stuff down to like genetics or ability that and like the discount the fact that they could achieve it if they put them out on much work as the other person put in. Like look at Messi for example. Messi was what born with two legs that weren't the same size. Another example, Alex Pereira didn't start MMA or kickboxing until he was like 23, then became the UFC world champion. Francis Ngannou was literally homeless 5 years ago. Like there's so much examples of this. Do you reckon the handicap and like the what's the word the handicap and like the people who had who it was harder to achieve that gave them that instilled in them like a stronger work ethic to outwork that?
100%. But I feel like with every one of them sports and sports in general, if you're only getting into sport now, for example, in any sport you're trying to get into, or you've only just started, and your first reaction is, oh, but I can't be as good as them and all the rest of it. You know, I would actually look at it in the complete opposite way. I would obviously think that I can, but I also would be buzzing because you're around people who have been doing it that long. Think about how much better you're going to get so much quicker. Like they were all growing up, and they were all growing up with people probably around the same age and only just starting. But now they're going to be you're only starting a sport, but you're going to be around people who've been doing it 10 years. So you're now going to be training with people with 10 years experience. So that means you're yes going to be getting battered. Maybe a couple of years, but you're also going to be training people who already have way more experience, and you're going to get so much better quicker. But for like example, as we were saying there, football teams, for example, they have different age categories, and they go up. If they had started, if they had started when they originally, when normal people start, they're learning at the same time as everyone else. But if you're starting at like when you're here and the people are already up here, you're learning of people who already have way more, and you're training with people with way more experience. So it's obviously it's hard, really hard to start, but you're also training with people who are at a higher level than you, so then you can also become better because you're training with better people. If you know what I mean, that makes sense. But when you're starting people at the same level you, so you make it a wee bit better. Here we get a wee bit better each time, but here you've so much more of a skill gap, but you've also got so much more to learn and to get better from because you actually have that experience in front of you to learn from. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Is it me on the court or is it you on the court in this one?
Um, my
Oh,
last.
it's you because I asked one about um. Don't be afraid to fail. No, yeah. So it's you. Your next one.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Care about what other people think, or care about what other people think, and you will always be a prisoner. What about this quote makes you believe this is true? And what and how did you overcome it? Like overcome this?
Um, care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. What? So what are you asking me? What about this quote makes you believe this to be true, or how did you overcome this? I don't know. As we've spoke about on so many episodes in this podcast before about growing up, that we like. I'm definitely guilty of it. Like I would allow people's opinions to hold me back in the sense like not posting certain things or not doing certain things because I was afraid of someone being like, "Oh, that's so weird. Why are you doing that?" Or, do you know what I mean? Like so many situations. And how did I overcome this? I don't want to say it was like a eureka moment. Like one day I just kind of clicked and I was like, "See, to be honest, I actually don't care about other people's opinions of me." I think it was like growing a callus in a sense. Like when me and you started doing this podcast, it was definitely a massive catalyst for over to kind of coming this belief distilled in me growing up, because I don't know. I think we just talked about it for so long. Then when we first posted the first episode of this podcast, obviously I've been overcome before this. When we posted the first episode of this podcast, we kind of knew that we were going to get people like having an opinion. It's definitely like we post on our Instagram stories, and it's the reason, like, say one of our most viewed videos is our first podcast episode, because people wanted to go on and have something to talk about, and like have something to say. But like at the end of the day, like I don't really care about other people's opinions outside of my circle. Do you know what I mean? Like they don't actually have an effect on me. What they think of me doesn't really matter to me in the slightest bit.
Yeah, I feel like going in with this podcast at the start, I was lucky in a sense because I'd already started making content. I'd already like I feel like there's a few buyers you get before you actually don't give a fuck when it comes to content. And I feel like I already overcame a few buyers, so I didn't really care. Like I would have done this no matter what. No matter what, I would have done a podcast. But uh, I feel like something you probably haven't said, and I don't think I've ever said. See, having someone doing it with you, it is so much easier. For example, if Danny was doing this by himself, he'd probably find it harder at the very start anyway. Not maybe not now, but at the very start, he'd probably find it harder because what's someone going to say about me and all the rest of it. But because he has someone doing it with him, maybe that I don't know about you, but that's helped with me. Also, the reason why I can relate to what I just said now as well, recording in the gym was something I thought I could never do. Like I generally, like everyone's looking at me, everyone's like, that kind of thing, and they are looking at you. Some of them are, and some, well, actually, to be honest, no one really gives a fuck. But I had never done it before, I never experienced it before. But I got lucky because I was with someone else doing the same thing. So when we're in the same situation, it's like, right, you're going through this, and I'm going through it with you. We're doing it together. We're getting it done, and then you realize no one really cares. Like it's so much handier having someone who's like-minded or doing the same thing as you. For example, this podcast, for example, me recording in the gym with someone else, it breaks down the barriers easier because you're doing it with someone on the same path. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So like, say if there's anyone listening and you have a thing that you want to do so bad, whether it's posting content or taking up like a new pastime, a new hobby, and you're not doing it because you're scared of what people are going to say it to you. One thing I would say is they'll never say it to your face. Like they'll never actually say and disbelieve you to your face. And like when people like throw hate on you and like have negativity, it's not a reflection of what you're doing. It's just a reflection of their inner mental state. You know what I mean? Like if someone looks at you for like posting content, but he's like, "Oh, that's so embarrassing," or "That's so this." It's not a reflection of you, because deep down they know that it's probably the fact they want to do this something similar or do something like that, but also don't have the balls to actually do that. Whether it is posting content or it's, I don't know, taking up dancing or taking up whatever it may be. And just going back to reiterate it, they'll never say it to your face either. People,
Yeah.
they'll never say it to your face.
Here as well. No, as well. I don't. I'm different, obviously, than a lot of people. Everyone's different, like, but I actually see it as a good thing. People throwing hate at you or taxing and comments. I actually like it because it makes me know that my content's getting reached out to people. It also means people are interacting with their content. So I mean, and in my opinion, 99% of the time, any publicity is good publicity, in my opinion. Um, Also, when you're taking back feedback, see people you don't know and people who aren't close to you, take it as a pinch of salt. Maybe they actually is something that you actually maybe need to change, but 99% of the time it isn't. But if it's one of your close mates, you actually value their opinion. Like, for example, see if Danny turned around and said to me, Jack, here, Bo, I think you should do this here instead, or I think you should do that. I would take that on board 100%. But see if it's someone who isn't really, an acquaintance, I would just take it as a pinch of salt. Do you know what I mean? So make sure taking the opinions of people you actually like value their opinions. See if you don't value their opinion, you know, don't take it to heart. Just take it as a pinch of salt. Just be like, oh fuck, thank you very much for feedback. And then, do you know what I mean? Like that.
It's also kind of straightforward to say for the people just trying to be dicks, and say for the people actually trying to offer you constructive criticism as well. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I was gonna say this here, but I think we've talked about it so much times. But you're gonna be shit to start, like whatever it is, content or whatever it is. Don't expect to be fucking. If you look at my first video, you'll be like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, and deny. Don't be wrong, my content isn't fucking good, but compared to what it was, it's not gonna just happen like that. Do you know what I mean? It all takes time. Dunny,
Don't find yourself, create yourself.
boom, yes. They're all these quotes. Not all of them. Some of them actually all timely, sure. Like not all of them, but like some of them are like, oh fuck, But that was good.
And the next quote that you said, Jack Gray, was, "It won't happen overnight, but if you quit, it will not happen at all."
And that relates to one of the quotes we were talking about earlier. Which one was it? I can't remember which one, but it relates to one of the quotes we were talking about. But yeah. Oh, it was about the failure thing. We were talking about failure. So basically, you cannot fail if you don't quit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. You will not fail if you don't quit. It's impossible to fail if you don't quit. But we're talking about the boxing scenario kind of thing. It is like anything. To be honest, what that basically means is anything you do, if you do not quit, you will not lose. Like it's impossible to lose. You'll learn or you'll win. There's no, simple as that. What was the exact quote?
The exact quote was, "It won't happen overnight, but if you quit, it will not happen at all."
Yeah, don't be expecting things to happen overnight. You see social media, for example, you think everything's happening overnight. You don't expect it overnight. It's a long journey. It's not that you obviously got to think about the destination, but you've got to enjoy the journey because the journey's a long one. Like if you're genuinely serious of what you want to do, it's going to take time. You're gonna like fail, but it's not really fail. You're more like learning. You're going to learn quite a lot on the journey. There's going to be ups, but there's going to be a hell of a lot of downs before you can get the ups. The way I see it is, for you, I'd rather have ups and I'd rather have downs because the more downs you have, the more enjoyment you'll have when you get to the ups. If that makes sense. If the life was all ups, then you just take everything for granted and you wouldn't like embrace it as much. So you need to have the ups or the downs that you enjoy the ups and to get the ups. But yeah, failure's impossible. It's only learning or winning. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I was watching a video recently, and it was this dude, some Irish fella, right? And he was kind of mates with a load of like big content creators. So he rented a yacht in Dubai and had them all on. I think he had the Nelk Boys, he had Mike Thurston, he had like online personal trainers like Tony McAlevey on the boat, and literally one of the things that every single one of these like big content creators, big people who've made it in like sorry, coaching or YouTube or content creation, everything they said was consistency. And they were talking, loads of them were talking about like they all started with one of like no followers and have worked their way up to the point that they're at now. And like most of them, all of them even, haven't been overnight success stories that we kind of always see portrayed online, because you're not interacting with their content when they have no followers, but you're interacting with their content when they've built it up to when they have, say, 100,000 followers, 1 million followers, whatever it may be. So like you always get this picture painted on social media that these people have always been this massive success story and always been this big, but realistically, they once created their Instagram account with no followers, created their YouTube channel with no followers, and what they all said was just consistency. Like consistency is what beats everything. You know what I mean? There's a quote, there's a really good saying about it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. So
Yeah,
I'd leave it a cliffhanger.
it's like the tortoise on
The her.
the hare. The hare just sprints and then boom, out for the count. But what the tortoise does differently, he uses a different approach. He does slow and steady, consistent moves, consistently moving that one step forward. With the hare, he just moved big step, and then he's like, "Oh, I can't reach it," gives up. But what the tortoise does, one step at a time, 1 foot at a time, boom, consistently, showing up, and what happens? He takes over the hare, boom, and wins the race and gets to the destination where he wanted to get to. I also enjoyed the process more because he knew it was going to take longer, and then But yeah, it's a good story, that one. Who's next? Is it me or you?
It's you.
It's me, right? So it is often the small steps, not the giant leaps, that bring the most lasting change. From your experience, why do you believe this quote?
Literally tying into what we were just talking about on that last point about consistency. I think everyone's obsessed with like, and me personally as well. Like everyone's obsessed with a quick fix or just this one thing that's going to change their lives. Whereas when you boil it down, distill it down, it's actually people who achieve certain levels of success. It's just daily habits carried out over say 5 years, 10 years. You know what I mean? Like when you break big, massive like outcomes down and break it down further and further and further, it can be broken down into like a series of daily habits. Like, do you know what I mean? Like even with you, go ahead.
It's like that quote: "Small wins build momentum."
Yeah, literally, exactly, lad. No, I mean it's like going to the gym. Like you can't go to the gym for a week and have be able to bench, I don't know, like say 150 kilo. Like you have to build that up over time, putting on like 1.25 kilo to the bar every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whatever it may be. Like it's just continuous and continuous chipping away, nose to the grindstone, just chipping away like abrasion. Do you know what I mean? So like once like the outcome's not going to be overnight. Is basically what that quote, what I kind of take away from that quote.
Yeah, is there any experience you have that you can relate to that?
Probably just like boxing and stuff and like stuff along them lines. Like when I first started boxing when I was younger, I used to get my head absolutely punched in, and like over time you get your head less punched in less and less and less and less and less until you're actually having first spars, then until you're actually winning the spars. Do you know what I mean? Then the fights
Yeah,
as well.
all them all them small accumulation wins, like they all accumulate into a bigger outcome. Like all them small wins accumulate into a big uh outcome, basically, is what I'm trying to say is. But yeah, and then also you're saying there about the boxing thing, like, you probably, when you seen that wee bit of progress, the feedback loop start getting quicker and quicker, and then you get better and better, and then, yeah. But yeah, that was a good intake on
It's you, isn't it?
that. No.
Is it me? So what was the last one I asked? Oh, if it won't happen overnight, but you, yeah. So
Yeah.
the next quote that you said, Jack, is clarity builds conviction. Without clarity, you cannot build conviction.
Um, it's the why the clarity builds conviction. So if you have a clarity on what it is you actually want to do, for example, if you want to run a marathon, you've got clarity. That is the goal. That is what I want to achieve, right? Then you can now look at the things you can do to in order to get to the marathon. Like, right, I can run 3 days a week for X amount of time. Then I can up it the month after to 4 times. Then I can lower the duration or up the intensity or lower the intensity. Once you have a clear direction, a clear tunnel vision of what it is you 100% is going for, clarity. If you have clarity on what it is you want to achieve, whatever it is, um, then you can look at all the stuff that you can actually do to get to it. The milestones, the wee small wins that are committed to the goal. But clarity builds conviction. It means you can boom, you can hit a head on and actually get the work. But when you don't have an end goal in mind and things, then you're always in your head and you don't have clarity. You're like, basically, oh, what does I have to do today? Is it that? Is it this? Is it what I'm working on? What am I trying to, But if you actually have that, clarity of where it is you want to go and how you're going to get there, then you can, boom, hit it head on. Can I?
Yeah, it's like an example I seen recently was like Richard Branson, the owner of Virgin, talking about like when he came to London, he wanted to set up a record label, but people kind of were like, "Oh, record labels are such a saturated market. Like, oh, these are they were literally just record shops claiming to be like saying there were record labels." And everyone was like, "Oh, look at they're already successful. Like that's too saturated. You'll never build a successful record label because there's so much competition in the market." But Richard Branson was like, no, I could build a really good record label, but people were kept saying it's too saturated. But now, if you could look at record labels nowadays, they were just like kind of record shops back in the day, like in London. But now they're literally skyscrapers run by own the whole skyscraper. So people always get like distracted by other things, other bright lights. Like what's the word? What's the word? I don't know. People always get distracted by other bright lights and like veer away from their purpose and the goal that they want to achieve. Like people say, I don't know, for example, like, oh, drop shipping's too saturated. You'll never make drop shipping work. Oh, trading's too saturated. You're literally trading against the big companies, and look for another quick fix. It's always links back to like this quick fix.
Yeah.
Whereas when you have clarity and you have a clear goal in mind that you can work on this one thing and get this desired outcome that you want to achieve.
Yeah, 100%. See if I had to like bring it back to like an experience that I can relate to that quote, it would be the season last year of football. I texted the manager saying I was going to join. I told him I texted him 25 goals I'm going to get. Like that was the goal. Um, because I already knew the outcome of what I wanted to get. I had each game plugging away. Or this how much goals I'm going to score, and this is how I'm going to do it is by playing matches and showing up to training and training fly blah blah. I actually went into them games. I've never had a season in my life where I went into games I genuinely believed I was the best player on that pitch, and I also genuinely believed that no one worked harder than me on that pitch. I also believed that I was already scored before the game even started. I genuinely had that much belief in myself, my ability, and my work ethic. I had so much conviction that I knew in my eyes it genuinely already happened. I can't express it. I've never had a season like that before in my life where I genuinely thought I'm the best player on this pitch. I'm the hardest worker, and I've already scored. Like the game's already over. I've already seen it. Like we get beat. We always got beat. There's games we got beat 6-1, but and the only name would be me and Luke scored. But I knew I was going to score. No one. If you asked any player in that team, they would have said, "You know what? We got beat, but Jack scored, and Jack's going to score. Like Jack's always, didn't matter how I played a shit game. In my head, I was going to have a good game, and even if I had a shit game, I would still score because I just had that. I already knew the outcome, and I already knew I was going to do it. If that makes sense. And it's the first time, well, the second time maybe I've ever felt like that ever. So I was good. Yeah, had the clarity and built the conviction. Anyway, so next one. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Why do you believe that courage that why do you believe that courage to continue is what counts, Donny?
Um, I'll break this quote down into three parts. So the first part, success is not final. When I say this, it's like literally going back to the first quote we said about time flies, but the good news is that you're the pilot. It's like when you achieve what you had as your main goal. Like me personally, what I've experienced with this is like when I was younger, I was always like getting university was the next big thing that I wanted to achieve, and now I'm here. I'm like, what's next? So like that's what I mean by success is not final. Like success doesn't kind of like dictate your whole life. Yes, it feels good for a short while when you achieve it, but once real life kicks back in, you kind of realize like you get used to it and you're like, oh, this is just my normal everyday life now. So you're like, it's not. There's always going to be something next after the success. The next bit is um failure is not fatal. So failure, as what we've been speaking about majority of this podcast, talking about like it's necessary to fail. Do you know what I mean? It's not even failure. Failure doesn't even exist. It's always just a lesson to learn. Then it's the courage to continue that counts is just talking about the next thing. Do you know what I mean? You're just gonna keep on going and keep slugging away and moving on to the next thing. And there's always gonna be another bright star to chase. There's always going to be something else to chase. Do you know what I mean? So another goal to achieve. So that's what I kind of mean by that. And it's just having the courage to continue chasing what's next in your life. Because let's be honest, the only thing that is final is death. To be honest, no, I mean you're always going to be your whole life. You're always going to be chasing something that you want to achieve.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. See, with the courage to continue is what counts. That actually really hit home with me because you know people get to where they want to be, and then they're like, oh, now I have to maybe say they go to try to do something different. Then they're like, and then they start it, and they're like, oh, they're not really getting to where they want to be, but they still continued anyway, and then they end up getting there. And it does take a lot of courage to keep doing something even you're not seeing any results. Like personally, I feel like I'm going through that stage currently. I don't feel like I'm seeing much results. For me, I always, when I see results, discipline's high. Like I'm in the gym. If I get one more rep more, it doesn't matter. Even if I don't want to go, I'm so much more likely to go. I'm more disciplined to go, even when motivation, even when I don't want to go, because I can actually see, even if it's, that one thing, as long as I can see that one thing, I'm disciplined. I will 100% show up. But see, when I'm not seeing it for someone that's kind of business wise, I don't feel like I'm seeing that. So, but I do have the courage, and I am continuing. It's hard to do something and chip away stuff when you're not seeing any results. But I assume, obviously I haven't got past that stage yet, but I assume you'll thank the hard times when you get past that hurdle. If you know what I mean, you'll thankfully glad that you had that courage in that time frame. So that's what I'm hoping, and that's what from what I've been watching, the people, everyone goes through this kind of stuff. So from what I've been listening to, every successful person's been through that stage before. So yeah, that's what I took from that.
Is it Jeremy?
It is you.
It's me. The biggest risk is not taking any risk in a world that is changing quickly. The only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking a risk.
Ooh, right. With this one, if you don't take any risks at all and you stay in the comfortable environment, right? And maybe you're in a good place right now. Maybe you actually want to stay in that. And I by all means do that. I respect you if you're in a comfortable position right now and you feel like you genuinely enjoy what you're doing, you're all good, then by all means don't take the risks. But if you're in a position where you generally are not enjoying your life, or it's in a job, most common one would be in a job you don't like doing. If you don't take that risk, the guarantee is that you stay in a job you don't like doing, and you work hard for someone else's dreams, and that you don't, have a passion for. Like, the guarantee is you will be unhappy and potentially get maybe depressed in a job you don't like doing. But with taking a risk, you can, you know, trade, maybe instead of money for happiness. Initially, anyway, you can trade the money for the happiness and actually pursue something I genuinely want to do by taking that risk. And you know what? The best thing is about this. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to that job you're in because you have the experience to get back to it. But something something you will regret when you're older and you're lying on that deathbed, you can be looking back and think, I never took that risk to actually go after what I ever actually genuinely wanted to succeed and actually go for. And that there for me is something that you will regret for the rest of your life. Not taking that risk. What could have been, what you could have had. And, for me, I don't want to be sitting there lying at deathbed thinking I could have done that. And it's the thing. It's the thing that everyone I've heard talk about this. It's like it's not the things you did. It's the things you didn't do. It's things you regret not doing. And for me, again, there you can always go back to that job. So, what is generally the worst that can happen? Yes, you'll be out of income for a wee while. Give it a go. And if it doesn't work out, boom. Now you have that. At least you took that risk to know, that you didn't want to do it, or it didn't work out, or it wasn't going to, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. You'll never receive the rewards of risks you didn't take.
Yeah, 100%. And again, as well, what is the worst that can happen? You can always go back to that job. You can always, go in.
Yeah.
This is my favourite one, Danny.
Your favourite one?
My favourite one you've wrote. And a few of my mates have actually said to me about this one. To me, I was like, here, that was sick. Quote. It's by my good friend Alex Ramosi. You said it, and it's class. I think it's funny.
What's it like being mates with Alex Hormozi? What does get up to, like?
Generally, you think I fucking know him. Like, I literally watch all for that. I think it's class. Haven't watched Iman Gachi's new ones yet. Though everyone watch. I watched the first episode. I haven't watched the rest. But so Danny, this is my favorite one. A focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius. Outwork the talent. Why do you believe a focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius?
I think this quote resonated with me so much as I always remember on the door of one of my English teacher's classes, it was, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And this quote is kind of saying the same thing. It's like anything, do you know what I mean? This is talking about like you always like people always like I don't know put people in the boxes in the sense like oh someone's smart, someone's stupid, whatever it may be. But like anyone, if you put in the necessary groundwork and the work to achieve something, no matter what your level of intelligence is dictated by like the school system or whatever it may be, you can outwork people who are deemed smarter than you in a certain subject or a certain aspect if you just put in the groundwork and just work as hard as you can. Like I don't know, like really, I can't really give a different take away on this quote is because it kind of says what it says. Do you know what I mean? In a sense, like a focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius at work. It's like going back to like the tortoise and the hare. Like the hare gets distracted by all these bright lights, everything else in the distance, whereas like the hare's just no, sorry, not the hare. The tortoise is just so focused on the finish line, it keeps slugging away and slugging away and slugging away until it crosses the finish line. Whereas the hare's doing about 10 different things after 100 different things.
Yeah. As well, it comes down to you can have all the talent in the world, but if you're not willing to put in the work, the person that doesn't have the talent and is willing to put it in, um, will ultimately take over. But here, see if you've talent and you have the hard work. Jesus, woo, you're away.
Unstoppable force.
You're unstoppable your way. But nah, I think it's true. There's so many people I know. Not so many. Yeah, to be honest, there's a few people I think off the top. I'm not gonna say their names. Out of respect, and I don't think they would mind, but just in case. But there's a few people I think off the top of my head that who are 100% smarter than me in my eyes anyway. Maybe that's a belief I have, but in my opinion, anyway, I feel like these people I know are 100% smarter than me, like as in like knowledge wise and like books and all the rest of it. They are very capable of way more than what they're doing right now. Like I know 100% they're way more capable. They are smarter than me. They could easily be, I think they have so much potential, kind of thing. But I feel like they've maybe distracted, and that is why in this scenario, me the fool, I'm willing to get them reps and work on myself to be able to think. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's the thing. But I don't like compare myself to fucking thing. But as there's so many people I know that are geniuses in this scenario but aren't willing to or maybe don't have the mindset, or maybe what it is they're lacking, but they don't have the ability to get it. But there's people who aren't. Like, there's people on YouTube or people on any social media platform you think of who aren't the most talented. Like for example, KSI talks about. There you go. KSI talks about being doing all these bad grades. Went to a posh school and all the rest of it, but didn't have a clue what the fuck. But he is a prime example of this. He generally put in the reps. He worked it. He put a YouTube video out every so often. Yes, he may have been acting like an absolute madman, but he was willing to put in the reps. And he would look at this quote and think, I am a fool, but I worked way harder than the geniuses, and I ended up becoming the genius, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Do you think it's, in a sense, the people who feel like they're smarter feel like they don't need to put as much work in as well? So, like, they don't end up putting as much work in as the person maybe who may be deemed as less intelligent than them. So, like, they feel like they can kind of just coast through the process, whereas what's necessary for the process is the hard work.
Yes, but I also feel like they get distracted from other things like drinking and drugs and fucking women and the woman in the red dress and stuff like that. I think they get distracted in the shiny lights as well. Like they don't get the terms on what they want to do because they get distracted. I feel like maybe I don't know. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
That was definitely my favorite one. That quote. That quote's very. I feel like a lot of people can relate that one.
Who was saying to you about it? Sure, tell me after. I want to know.
I've already told you before, Glenn. He'll not mind me saying your name, like Glenn Mickle.
Oh, fair, fair.
He's like, "Man, that was sick."
Yeah. Here, what one, Jack, the next one you said was one day the word soon will be real. Sorry, let me restart that again. I'm having a wee bit of a stutter. One day the word soon will be replaced with the word finally.
What this means to me is that soon, it's hard to say. Soon, soon it'll be replaced with the word finally, because I keep on saying soon I'm going to do this and going to do that, but I actually am working towards what I actually want to work towards. Currently, anyway, I actually generally am working towards it. In the past, I was just saying I was going to do it and stuff. Now, I actually am on the path, but I just haven't had a few years. Like I haven't had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of getting the soon out of the way to say the finally, if that makes sense. But it will replace the word finally, because of like finally them reps have actually accumulated to something, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When do you think you'll be able to say the word finally?
Oh, I wrote that down. That's a good question.
Or do you not want to share it on
um,
here?
I feel like when the word finally will be replaced with the word soon whenever it's meant to. I feel like it's I can't really give you a clear answer now, because it'll happen when it's meant to happen. I feel like
Yeah.
everything happens when it's meant to happen, kind of thing. But sometimes you have to make it happen, to be fair, like obviously. But you
I get
know,
you.
a time will come. It's a waiting game. I think I've talked to you before about it, but I need to look at things in a longer time horizon. I always look at things in a year's time, or 2 months time, or 3 months, or a year, or 2 years. 5 and 10 years time. Boom! If I keep doing what I'm doing now, then what's the chances it doesn't work out? You know, for example,
Yeah.
me uploading social media app. I've now uploaded like 130, 40 days, whatever it is, and I can't really tell you at the top of my head. What's the chance of it not working out if you do it for 5, 10 years? What's the
Yeah.
chances? That kind of thing. I don't know anyone who's consistently uploaded every day for 5 years, 10 years, hasn't at least got something from it, like kind of thing. But
Last quote each.
yep, the last one each, right? So this is one that wasn't a quote of the day, but it was something that you said, and I felt like it would be a good one to talk about. It can kind of relate to a quote. It kind of is a quote, but it's not. It isn't. But make it harder to afford the habit that I that make it hold on, make it harder. Oh yeah, make it make it make it
That was me, lad, trying to read the quotes to stutter, mate.
make it harder to afford the habit than actually do the habit. So why do you think this would be? Why do you think this would? Why do you think this when you're trying to build a habit? Why do you think this when you're trying to build a habit?
Nah, the reason I love this like saying slash quote so much is I was definitely going through a period of inconsistency and lack of discipline, and I read personally one of my favorite books, Atomic Habits by James Clear. And this is basically the main message of this book that he promotes so much throughout this book, the whole thing. Make it harder to avoid the habit than actually do the habit. And what he's kind of saying, and what I kind of take away from it, is don't make it hard to do the things that you want to do, that you know you need to do. So say if you want to go running or want to go to the gym when you wake up in the morning, have all your shit laid out, lie on your bed or sitting over your chair, so there's the least amount of friction between you and doing the thing that you know you need to do. But when your lazy brain's talking, when you're lying in bed being like, oh, another 10 minutes, another 20 minutes, a wee nap, no, sorry, a wee snooze, put it right in front of you so you can't avoid it. Do you know what I mean? So that's literally with anything. Even that's good habits and trying to take away bad habits. Do you know what I mean? Like
The opposite.
what's yeah, it's just the complete opposite. Put more friction in the way of the bad habits. So like go on. I don't know. Can't talk here.
What what's something that you do now that makes it more feasible to be able to start them good habits? Is there anything you do currently?
Um, know what I do, and I know I've said this before. Like I'll literally show you here, like just post-it notes, lad, of all the shit that I need to do that is
That
sitting
like
right.
is that a to-do list or like stuff?
Yeah, it's like a to-do list, and I also have like my daily diary. You know what I mean? I have it right in front of me, so I can't avoid not doing it. So like if I just keep it in the back of my head, I know for a fact that I'm going to forget it and leave it to the last minute to do it. But see, when it's on a post-it note sitting on my desk that I sit at every single day, I'll see it and be like, right, I have to do that, so do it, and it like gives me like a sense of like dopamine, just ticking off the list, ticking off the list.
Would you if I had to spend some amount of money using them sticky notes?
I know.
Tell us a bit more about the Daily Journal. What's that?
Now the Daily Journal is just like it's literally just the same thing. It's just like a 2024 planner that I tried to use. You know what I mean? Just like what I need to do for the day and like write the main things I need to get achieved for the day.
Yeah, I'm probably a bit lazy that I do calendar on my phone. Like, feels good.
But
Nah,
yeah,
make it harder for it. Yeah, see, you know what I found with this quote? When I was thinking about it, like, what's the things I do that without realizing, like, what is it? And recently I've been going to boxing and getting nice buff after boxing, right? And I purposely get my jammies and get my clothes ready to go in my shower and all the rest. And I get my what do you call it, sliders and my house coat and my tripod already ready. So when I come home, I go in to get in that bathroom. I have a tripod there, a house coat and thing. So then it's not friction; it's already ready to go. So
hmm
I do back that up, boom, straight in. But if I didn't have that ready to go, then I'm wasting another 20 minutes, and then I'm thinking, oh, I have to get in this. But then I'm home, I've already got that, boom. So I think that's, without me knowing, is actually create less friction. As well with eating, I've probably told you this, I have told a lot of people this one, but I don't buy shit during the week. I only buy shit in the weekends. So if I buy extra in the weekends, I'm getting that as quick as possible done on that weekend. If not, it's away, no weekend, because then I have something to distract me. Oh, I've got that downstairs on the screen of mine. But if it's not there at all, then I have to physically leave the house to get that. And then I'm going to be way, way, way less likely to do it because I have to, because that much friction. Anyway, let's go, Dom.
right, Jack. Your last quote: "Don't talk, just act. Don't say, just show. Don't promise, just prove. Do you want it or do you not?"
This is a deep one, but at that time period when I was making that quote and I had said that quote and that related to me the most was a time when I was acting or saying I was acting and wasn't acting. I was saying I was going to do something and wasn't doing. You know, I was doing the complete opposite of the quote. Um, and when I found this quote, I only just started getting back into the zone, getting back into, saying doing something, actually doing it, and like not getting distracted and like just basically doing everything the quote was saying. I started to implement, and then I seen this quote. I was like, man, I can relate to this. This is literally the time period I'm in right now, and I was just, not saying I was acting, I was showing, but beforehand I was caught in that place where I was like, right, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna, saying it and not showing, saying I'm acting but never acting, basically I was in a place where I wasn't doing what that was, but then when I found that quote, I was actually in that state of mind, and I was, saying, but I was also showing. Like I feel like all of us, including myself, even now, maybe to some degree, but less off anyway, are always saying we're going to do something. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I want to do this. But do you really want? If you really wanted it, you'd be doing it. So like, you know, that's the time period I was in, and now I'm now leaning more towards saying it and actually doing it. Instead of talking, I'm showing. That kind of thing. The bit at the end, do you want it or do you not? That's the one that I can relate to the most because I was saying I wanted these things, but my actions I did not align with the outcome and things I actually wanted. Because if you really wanted something, you have like there's no action to. If you really want something, you're going to actually put it in and actually get it. So I feel like that's something that I've got the terms with, and I feel like I'm getting better at 100%. That's what I can relate to.
Yeah.
What
No,
about
I
you?
got.
What's your thoughts on that? I feel like everyone can relate to that one. To be fair.
Yeah, it's just literally what the whole vibe of this whole podcast episode kind of has been. Just talking about like if you actually want something, you just have to go grab it. You know what I mean? You just have to go and do it.
Yeah, stop saying and show. Start
Yeah.
fucking acting. Do you want it or do you not?
The
And
only
if you don't want
thing,
it, don't say it.
the only thing, Jack, is doing the thing.
Just doing the thing. Boom. I love that quote. That's definitely. And I think that another Alex Moser one was probably the best quote of 2013 or 23. Sorry.
2013. Just time travel there, lad. Here, Jack. I think today with the quote of the day, what we do is our quote of the day. We don't explain the quote of the day and what we get from it. I think we allow the listeners to comment below and what they take from the quote, or comment below what their favorite quote was and their take from the quote. Obviously, we've done 14 different quotes there, and we're about to do a 15th and a 16th quote. So comment below what you take from it, or what was your favorite quote and what was your take from it.
Yeah. Also, we're not going to elaborate on this because I say we do an episode like this here, obviously in like 13, 14 podcast time. Also, we'll get into our biggest challenge and biggest wins of the week as well. We'll get into them for the quote. So, Danny, what was your biggest struggle of the week?
My biggest challenge and my biggest win of the week are the same thing. My biggest challenge of the week was studying the amount that I had to for the test that I had this week, and my biggest win was completely finishing them tests for another 3 to 4 months before having any more tests. So they're both tied into the same thing. So my biggest win and biggest challenge was academic.
It's funny how your biggest struggle can be your biggest win, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Just going back to what we said this whole episode, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I love to relate that exact quote with that. Like your biggest struggle
Yeah.
is always your biggest win. But I love to know the exact
Your
quote,
big
quote. We need to make a quote, our own quote. that
your
relates to that.
big your biggest win will be your struggle. Your biggest struggle will be your biggest win when you say finally. Something like that. We'll make it for the next episode.
Yeah, we definitely need to come up right now. That was good. So my biggest struggle and biggest win of the week. So my biggest struggle of the week would be, what would it be? Leg day and deadlifts and core.
Biggest struggle?
Biggest this week, the Monday and Tuesday, I did not want to train. I done it. I got it done, and I felt unbelievable after doing it. See, the thought of doing it, it was struggling. Don't know why. I just fucking really didn't want to do it, but I got it done. So that's a win. But my biggest win of the week would be content. It was the first time in about 2 months, maybe or so, that I didn't have anyone to record with because I got my sister to record me last week, and 2 weeks before I was in the gym with a mate. This week was just by myself, soloing it. So I had to do it by myself, but I pulled through and I made pretty decent bits of content there, which was good. I feel like my content's actually getting pretty better, to be honest, recently. Like it is starting to pick up a wee bit.
I agree.
But it is getting better. Like, but yeah, time for the best part of the week. Danny, I'm hoping to have a banger out of here. Like,
right, Jack. We're not going to say anything in the quote. We're going to let the audience give their feedback on the quote or their favorite quote of the podcast. Please comment below. My quote of the day, Jack, is: the greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. And that quote is by Oprah Winfrey.
Sick. You told me that one before the podcast, and I didn't know it was going to be quote today, and that I feel like I want to elaborate so much on it, but it's so
Yeah.
We'll talk about some more. Anyway, my quote of the day is by Jack Gray, but it's mixed in with Alex Shamoza, and it's mixed in with a wee bit of Chris Williamson. So it's like it's all three of us.
It's a cocktail.
It's a cocktail, aye. So my quote of the day is: there comes a time when you're going to feel lonely. You'll struggle to know if you're on the right path, and if the path you chose is the right one. And you'll have no way of knowing. You'll lose friends and you'll lose sleep. This is what hard is supposed to feel like, and this is why most people quit. And but this is the exact reason why you must keep going. That is my quote of the day.
That's absolutely sick, to be fair.
Definitely relates to a time period, like, so it's a good one, like. It's good.
But yeah.
I've got an update for anyone watching this as well. Apart from us, obviously, because we're the best podcast in the world, but there's the second best podcast in the world. There's Alex Shamoza and Chris Williamson on Monday coming out, a new episode on that one. So you can go watch that after you watch this one. Maybe this one's better, like, obviously, but I just thought let you know, like. See, before we call it a wrap, see what Danny said there. Anyone watching this, watch the full episode. Comment below and let us know, and also write down what was your best quote of the day out of all the ones we've said so far. I think that's very interesting. Danny, I would actually, you know what it is, before I know we're going to wrap it up here. Danny, I would love to know, what was your favourite quote out of the ones you said?
Oh, out of the ones that I said, that you've said?
I know one of my favorite is your one, which was the one I already said. But what are you all yours? What do you think your favorite one was?
I would probably say the biggest risk is not taking any risk in a world that is changing quickly, and the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking the risk.
Yeah. Why do you feel like that's your favorite one?
Just because I think risk is just so necessary. Sometimes you got to put it all on red. You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%, 100%.
An educated gamble though.
Yeah,
An
yeah.
educated gamble. Don't go in blind.
Yep.
But everyone, thank yous all. Oh, here you're on the outro actually, Jack, because you did. Or
Aye.
I'll do it. I don't mind.
No, I'm trying to think of my favorite one, but I don't really. Uh, I'd say that last one's my favorite one. My favorite quote of all the ones I've said so far would be: "Don't talk, just act. Don't say, just show. Don't promise, just prove. Do you want it or do you not?" I'd say that's my favorite one I've done so far. But have you anything to leave us off with, Danny?
No, sir. I think
No.
I've said everything that I want to say.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I hope whoever's watching this has a great day. I hope you get after it and have a great day all the rest of it. And yeah, it's been today's Today podcast with Jack and Danny. Over and out.